Hello everyone, I'm Ed Orcutt, your state representative in the 18th District. I represent portions of Cowlitz and Clark counties, including Camas, Washougal, Salmon Creek, Battleground, Ridgefield, and La Center, up through Woodland, Kalama, and Toutle to the county line. I'm reporting to you from the 2010 legislative session here in Olympia. Last week, the House of Representatives passed legislation making it easier to raise your taxes. Senate Bill 6130 passed with a vote of 51 to 47. This bill overturns the voter-approved Taxpayer Protection Act, also known as Initiative 960, which required a 2/3 vote in the legislature to raise taxes, and they used a simple majority vote to eliminate the 2/3 vote requirement. I want you to know that I opposed this legislation. I don't believe the legislature has set forth clear and concise priorities in dealing with our $2.8 billion budget hole. And there has been too little effort to balance this budget without tax increases. My fear is that without leadership, without establishing and defining our priorities, state leaders are setting us up on a perpetual course of state budget deficits. We already know that a large deficit looms before us for the 2011 to 2013 biennium. Because legislators are making it easier to raise taxes and setting the precedent to do so, tax increases will become the norm for future budget holes rather than the rarity. And speaking of tax increases, here's a quick summary of tax legislation proposed in the House of Representatives this year. A doubling of the death tax, a 1% increase in the state sales tax, making Washington the highest in the nation, a tax on candy and bottled water, a state income tax, a hazardous substance tax increase, which would amount to a 6-cent per gallon gas tax increase. However, while these are the ones that have garnered the most attention to date, the full list of tax and fee increase proposals is astounding. A total of 77 bills proposing tax and fee increases have been introduced thus far, for a total of over $3 billion in new state and local taxes or fees for fiscal year 2011. If all these same proposals were adopted, it would amount to over $11 billion in the next biennium in 2011 to 2013. At this time, we don't know what taxes and fees will be raised, but there are plenty of proposals on the table, and now it only takes a simple majority vote in the legislature to pass those tax increases. Already, the governor has put forth her preferred list of taxes to raise, many of which will hurt employers in Southwest Washington, leading to more layoffs in a county where we already have the highest unemployment rate in the state. A few of my bills have survived the first legislative cutoff and are still moving through the process. House Bill 2973 would allow military persons who are stationed in Oregon but live in Washington to qualify for resident in-state tuition rates. Spouses and dependents would also qualify. The bill passed the House unanimously and was heard Wednesday in the Senate Higher Education and Workforce Development Committee. House Bill 3168 would help property owners who want to appeal their property valuations even when their property's value is unchanged. If a property's value doesn't change, no notice is given, which oftentimes lead to property owners missing the July 1st deadline to appeal. My bill, which passed the House unanimously, would eliminate this catch-22. I've also co-sponsored 2 bills to help protect our timber jobs. The first, House Bill 2541, will promote and foster economic success of the forest products industry by keeping forestry as a priority use for the land. This bill passed the House and is scheduled for a public hearing in the Senate Natural Resources, Ocean, and Recreation Committee. The second bill, House Bill 2420, would give timber jobs credit for being part of the green economy. This bill also passed the House and is scheduled for a public hearing in the Senate Economic Development and Trade and Innovation Committee. Now, I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge the help that we receive from our legislative pages. They are an important part of the operations here in the legislature. This week, I'd like to introduce Rachel Redgew from Battleground. Rachel, I want to thank you for your assistance this week in the legislature. It's been a pleasure having you on board, and I hope you're learning a lot this week, and I hope you're having a good time too. We really appreciate all the things that you do to help us here in Olympia. And we hope that you take something back home, maybe a little bit better understanding of how the process works and how genuine legislators are in their desire to solve problems for the people of the state. And I want to give a special thank you to everybody who came to our 18th District Town Hall meetings over the weekend. We had about 85 people at each of our town hall meetings in Woodland and Battleground. It was great to see so many of you, even in the midst of a rare sunny weekend in February, so we really appreciate you coming out on a Saturday. Please feel free to call me with your questions or concerns on legislative matters. You can use my direct line at 360-786-7812. Again, that's 360-786-7812. Use the toll-free hotline or send a message by email. And don't forget to check my webpage for news. I want to thank you again for taking time to watch this video update and for staying involved in what's going on up here, staying informed in what's happening in your state government. I'm Ed Orcutt. I want to thank you again for joining me. Have a good week.